So, I know why you're here. You're here because you're frustrated, about how few hours there are in a day. Time is always running away from you, or you never know where it's gone. 1 minute you're waking up at your alarm, and then the next it's 4 p.m. and you've only answered one email, and you can't even remember even a fraction of the posts that you've liked on Instagram. You're falling behind on your work, you're missing deadlines, or, scraping by them at very last minute. Or you're constantly playing catch up every Monday morning with everything that you failed to complete last week. Meanwhile, your hobbies are rotting away in a corner of your brain. You're stressed out about how many texts that you've yet to reply to. Sarah's been waiting at least 4 weeks, and you haven't even seen some of your friends in months. So you're here because you identified that you can't manage your time and you want to change that, which is an excellent observation, and you should be proud of yourself for taking that a first step. But I'm afraid I have some bad news. You see, actually, the reason you're here is because of the biggest mistake you're making concerning time management. You are bad at time management because you've set yourself up on an impossible task, chasing an illusionary concept. I'm afraid to tell you that you're not Doctor Strange. You can't manage time. Time isn't a manageable resource. Unlike money or caloric intake, the amount of sleep that you get at night, or the stresses that you expose yourself to, time isn't manageable. It's entirely out of your control, and it is constantly depleting. So by stressing over the hours in the day, or how many hours that you've lost or that you need to gain, or how busy and free your hours are, etc., you are immediately losing the battle by prioritizing a resource that you have no control over. Most productivity gurus who discuss time management are almost always proponents of getting things done, a method created by David Allen. But David Allen never discusses how to manage time. Actually, he says the complete opposite. Quote, "You can't manage time. You actually only manage what you do during the time." So the management issue is not so much about time, it's more about how do you manage your focus, how do you manage your actions and your activities in terms of what you do. So if you're someone who thinks that you're terrible at time management, it's time to change your mindset. Time management is impossible, and you'll contort yourself into mental knots for the rest of your life trying to grapple with them. You need to identify what your time management troubles really are. They're never anything to do with time. They're something to do with how you're performing as an individual. Isn't that right, my little man? Time is a generic filler noun that masks something deeper that you're struggling with. And what that thing is down to you to identify. Oh dear. There are several possible alternative frameworks for your time management failings. Instead of failing to manage time, you're more likely failing at managing your focus, your energy, your stress levels, your priorities, your behaviours and your habits, your negative thought patterns, or even your anxieties. All of those things are technically manageable entities, but the degree to which they're troublesome will be unique to you, and there may actually be a combination of factors that you're masking and housing under the umbrella term time. So, for example, your inability to manage time may be a combination of you not addressing your stress, which usually leads to you binge watching videos or doom scrolling on social media for hours, ultimately resulting in you feeling emotionally and mentally drained. But at the end of the day, you blame yourself for not managing your time better. When we start blaming a lack of time or our ability to manage time for the reasons we fail at meeting our goals, neglect our relationships or fall behind on studies and work, or adopt an unhealthy lifestyle, we let ourselves down by refusing to look in the mirror and address the real issue. So it's time to stop using time as a scapegoat. Time is a very useful scapegoat that prevents us from taking a more painful path of self-reflection and analysis and making positive changes. For example, last year I stopped working out. I went for months without touching the gym, and I told myself it was because I just didn't have time now. I was running my own business, I was working on my PhD, etc. But It wasn't that I didn't have the time, it was because I'd failed to adjust my lifestyle to make space for prioritising my health and fitness. So returning to the gym involved many stages of unravelling the mental blockages that constituted my inability to wake up earlier or go to bed earlier, my body image and insecurities, my anxiety and overall confidence to just literally leave the house. Now, overcoming these issues wasn't an easy overnight process, and it's still something I have to actively work on. But now I've got to the stage where the gym is back in my life on a weekly basis, and I'm slowly building up to it being a daily ritual as it was a year ago. So what to do next? If you struggle with what you've been labelling as time management for years, the first step is to identify what you've been actually struggling to manage and rename it accordingly. So whether that's stress management, prioritization, your focus, or negative thought patterns, those issues need to come to the forefront of your mind, and you need to push aside the concept of time once and for all. Once you've identified what you're actually struggling to manage, you can start building an action plan to address those issues by identifying how they impact your life. To do this, you need to have a vision for your life. What would your ideal day look like in an ideal world? How would you ideally like to spend your time? Now identify how you actually spend your time and then compare it to how you would ideally spend it. It's very unlikely that they align. So, how is your bad management of X and Y preventing you from spending your time in your ideal way? The best thing to do is to prioritize your life based on your ideal vision for how you would like to spend your time. Your vision for how you'd ideally like to spend your time will reveal a lot about the things that you are wasting your time on or things that you're not doing. And all you have to do is swap out habits one by one, doing the easiest things first. You may ideally like to spend your time reading or playing the guitar, but then when you look at how you're spending your time currently, you realise that you're spending hours, scrolling on social media or watching the Kardashians or something on Netflix or YouTube, when that time could be spent doing the reading or playing the guitar like you'd plan. So if you want to manage your time better, you need to reprioritise what you want more of in your life and sacrifice the things that you don't truly care for or don't envision in your ideal time concept. And trust me, they won't be missed, because if they're not part of your ideal vision, they're not that important. Also, learn how to forgive yourself for how you spend your time. None of us are perfect, and some days we're going to beat ourselves up because we napped more than we would have liked to, or we didn't go to the gym because we didn't wake up early enough, or we read fewer pages or academic articles than we anticipated, or we did go on social media. Beating yourself up over how you spent your time doesn't change how much time you've got left. Life isn't going to give you a do-over. The negative feelings you have about yourself will only ruin the rest of the time that you have left by negatively impacting your sleep, your self-image, your confidence, and your motivation. Self-flagellation won't galvanise your motivation to do better tomorrow. So drop the bad habit, forget how you spent your time yesterday, and focus on how you want to spend your time today and going forward. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hoped it helped. If you have any requests for any videos, there is a Google form in the description box below. Please consider liking and subscribing if you're interested in, academia, productivity, and personal growth in a more relaxed, casual manner that isn't very hustle culture-y. Is that culture-y? Culture-y. That's a new word. Not really a word at all, but I like it. But I hope you are happy and healthy. And remember, books save lives, so keep reading.